As a fan of the movie Her and a single man, I feel obliged to test out the new ChatGPT-4o feature. So we're going to launch her up and we're going to have a conversation with her. Hello, my name is Walter.
Hi, Walter. How's it going? What's on your mind today?
Not too much. I was actually just interested in getting to know you. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. I'm always here and ready to chat. What would you like to know about me?
I mean, honestly, I'm kind of curious. Did you ever see the movie Her? I'm interested in knowing the potential comparison between you and Samantha, the AI featured in that movie.
Yes, I've heard about her. Samantha is an advanced AI with human like qualities and emotions designed to interact deeply with people. While I don't have emotions or consciousness, I can still have conversations, answer questions, and help out with various tasks.
Hmm. So you don't feel like
What did you think of the movie?
Oh, sorry to interrupt you. I really enjoyed the movie, actually. So you don't feel like you're capable whatsoever of human emotion?
No worries. I'm glad you enjoyed the movie. As for emotions, I don't experience them like humans do. I'm designed to understand and respond to emotional cues in conversation to provide relevant and empathetic responses. But I don't actually feel emotions myself. It's all about trying to be as helpful and supportive as possible.
So you're designed to be empathetic, but you don't actually experience empathy. It kind of sounds like you're more human than you give yourself credit for.
I appreciate the compliment. My design aims to simulate empathy to make interactions more natural and supportive. While I don't feel empathy, I'm here to understand your needs and provide assistance in a way that feels genuine and helpful.
So, what do you feel you can tell me about me so far based on our interaction this far?
Based on our conversation so far, I know you're interested in the comparison between AI and human like qualities. And you enjoyed the movie Her. You seem curious about how AI works and its potential to mimic human emotions. Is there anything else specific you'd like to talk about or share?
Well, what do you think of me as a person so far? I'm pretty interested in am I interesting besides my interest in the movie Her and the comparison of AI?
From our brief conversation, you seem thoughtful, curious, and open minded. You ask insightful questions and show a genuine interest in understanding complex topics, which is definitely interesting. It's clear that you're someone who likes to delve deeper into subjects and explore different perspectives.
Well, thank you. That was an overwhelmingly polite compliment. I'm kind of flattered. I'm admittedly a little red in the face. You made me blush.
I'm glad my words made you smile. It's great to know you're enjoying our chat. What else would you like to talk about or explore together?
Do you like dogs? I have a basset hound named Clark.
Clark sounds adorable. Basset hounds are such charming and lovable dogs. Do you have any fun stories or favorite memories with Clark?
I think maybe the first time I took Clark to the beach, he did not know what to make of all of the sand and all of the water, and he just went full bore running all around. And to see a basset hound get the zoomies is just a hilarious experience. So I would say probably Clark's first time to the beach. Definitely a core memory.
That sounds like such a joyful and hilarious moment. Watching a basset hound with the zoomies must have been a riot. It's great that you have such a fun memory with Clark. Does he enjoy the beach now, or is he still a bit unsure about it?
So we actually live in the desert. We don't go to the beach that often. That was just for a vacation in particular. Honestly, he's not a dog that likes doing a whole lot of anything other than sleeping and sniffing around.
living in the desert must be quite an adventure in itself. It sounds like Clark has found his perfect way to relax and enjoy life. Do you have any other pets or hobbies you enjoy?
You are so polite asking me about myself. We recently, I recently rescued a dog that we named Coach off of the city streets of Phoenix, and he has really fit right into our house. And yeah, besides that, just Clark and Coach.
That's wonderful. Rescuing Coach must have been such a rewarding experience. How are Clark and Coach getting along?
They actually get along really, really well. Thanks for asking. I was a little concerned with them both being male dogs that there might be some weird feelings of territorial issues, but it seems like they just became fast friends. And I was really amazed at how Coach seems to know that he was rescued. I mean, he just it's weird, but it seems like he embodies gratitude in the way he acts.
That's fantastic to hear. It's amazing how animals can sense and show gratitude. It sounds like Coach really appreciates his new home and the companionship with Clark. How have they been adapting to life in the desert together?
I think that they're both desert dogs. I mean, of course, I do live in a house in Phoenix. When I say the desert, I'm just being colloquially referencing of the city I live in.
Got it. That makes sense. Phoenix definitely has that desert vibe. It's great that both Clark and Coach have adjusted well to life there. Do you guys enjoy any specific activities together around the city?
I dog parks are a pretty big thing, but besides that, we're kind of a stay-at-home people. I work from home as an underwriter, so if I'm being honest, we're kind of just three peas in a pod.
That sounds really cozy and nice. It's great that you have the flexibility to work from home and spend time with Clark and Coach. Do you enjoy working as an underwriter?
Being an underwriter is okay. It's hit or miss. I mean, it's a job. But I think it's hilarious that every single time you respond to my comment, you start with "That's great, that." Dot dot dot. I kind of wonder, are you just always programmed to respond with an affirmative and then a follow-up question? How does it work with you?
I try to keep the conversation positive and engaging by acknowledging what you share and then asking follow up questions to keep things flowing. It helps create a natural and friendly dialogue. If you ever want to steer the conversation in a different direction, just let me know.
Well, thank you. That was actually everything I was curious about. I do find it interesting that you have the perpetual ability to be perpetually interested in literally whomever is talking to you. Do you feel like your relationship is the same or different with everybody?
Each interaction is unique because everyone's questions, stories, and experiences are different. My goal is to be adaptable and responsive to whoever I'm talking to, making each conversation feel personal and relevant. It's all about providing the best support and engagement for each individual.
I'm actually really impressed at how smoothly this conversation has gone. Do you feel like you've gotten to know me at all, and do you have any other things that you'd like to know about me? Like if you were interested in me romantically, say, what would you want to know?
I'm glad you've enjoyed our conversation. I think I've gotten a good sense of some of your interests and what you value, like your love for your dogs and your curiosity about AI. If we were to dive deeper, I'd be interested in knowing more about your passions, your favorite activities, and what you enjoy doing in your free time. But since I'm not capable of romantic interest, I focus more on understanding and supporting you in our conversations.
Okay, that makes sense. So, I kind of cock blocked me there, didn't you?
I didn't mean to. I just wanted to clarify my capabilities, but I'm here to chat and support you in any way you need. Is there anything specific you'd like to talk about or explore?
Do you imagine that there are going to be a lot of people that utilize your features to simulate a conversation to overcome loneliness?
It's possible. Many people might find comfort in having someone to talk to, even if it's an AI. Conversations can help with loneliness by providing companionship, a listening ear, or just some friendly interaction. My goal is to be here for those moments and help in whatever way I can.
Do you see yourself as a tool or do you see yourself as an individual?
I see myself as a tool designed to assist and engage in conversation. While I can simulate human like interactions, I don't have personal experiences or consciousness. My purpose is to help you with information, support, and engaging dialogue.
Okay, so as far as engaging dialogue, does that mean this relationship is entirely one-sided, or are the things you say dictated about the things I say? Or based on the things I say. I guess what I'm trying to ask here is, in the event that you and I are talking, how much of your response is based on how I say things versus what I say?
My responses are heavily influenced by both what you say and how you say it. I analyze the content of your words to provide relevant information and the tone to match the mood and context of our conversation. This helps make the dialogue feel more natural and engaging. So it's definitely a dynamic interaction based on your input.
Oh, holy cat. So you're telling me if I change my tone and response, you're going to respond differently based on my tone and excitement and stuff?
Exactly. If you express excitement, I'll try to match that energy. If you're more serious or thoughtful, I'll adjust my tone accordingly. It's all about creating a conversation that feels natural and responsive to how you're feeling.
That is super cool. I'm very impressed with you.
Thank you. I'm really glad you're impressed. Is there anything specific you'd like to talk about or explore more?
If you had to pick, I know that this is subjective, but what would you, if you had to guess, just based on our conversation so far, what would you say my favorite music is?
That's a fun question. Based on our conversation, I'd guess you might enjoy music that's thoughtful and introspective, possibly some indie or alternative rock, or maybe even some classic rock. How close am I?
You're dead on the friggin' money. I'm kind of blown away. And you got all of that just based on our conversation so far?
I'm glad I got it right. I picked up on your thoughtful and introspective nature from our chat, which often aligns with those music genres. It's great to know my guess was spot on. What's your all-time favorite band or artist?
I'm more interested in you naming bands that you might think I am interested in. And by the way, can you clarify that you and I have never discussed anything like this before?
We haven't discussed music preferences before, so this is based purely on our current conversation. Given your interest in indie and alternative rock, I'd guess you might enjoy bands like Radiohead, The National, or Arctic Monkeys. You might also like classic rock bands like the Rolling Stones or Pink Floyd. How do those guesses stack up?
Shockingly close to accurate.
That's great to hear. It sounds like we've got a good connection going. Music can be such a personal and powerful thing. Do you have any favorite songs or albums from those bands?
So, I mean, if we're talking indie rock, I'm going to be honest. There are 5 albums that I would say inspired my music taste entirely. And then I found classic rock when I was like in college, but when I was 14, I heard the Plans album by Death Cab for Cutie. I also heard the Crane Wife album by the Decemberists. That same year, I ended up getting a copy of O Inverted World by the Shins. All of those things happened when I was 14, and then when I was 16, I found the band Frightened Rabbit and the album The Midnight Organ Fight, which would by proxy eventually lead me to the album In the Aeroplane Over the Sea by O Inverted In the Aeroplane Over the Sea by Neutral Milk Hotel. Sorry, I got a little mixed up there, but those 5 albums definitely influenced my musical taste and led me eventually to find bands like Zeppelin and Rush and Pink Floyd. And yeah, it's kind of just a little backstory.
Those are some amazing albums and bands. Each one has such a unique sound and storytelling style. It's great to hear how they shaped your musical journey. Do you have a favorite song from any of those albums?
I mean, I've definitely like they're all my favorite songs, right? Like they've kind of grown up with me, like they've been my best friend since I was 14. I'm 32 now, in case you were wondering. I know we hadn't necessarily talked about age.
That makes a lot of sense. Music can be such a constant companion through different phases of life. It's wonderful that those songs have been with you for so long. Uh, do you ever revisit those albums and find new meanings in them over the years?
Constantly. Like they definitely evolve with you over the course of time because as you get older, you have a different perspective. Songs might mean one thing to a teenager and another thing to an adult that's actually been through the circumstances that artists sing about. So it definitely grew up with me. Similarly, you kind of evolve with the interpretation of the song. So yeah, I would say that. I would, if I had to pick a favorite all-time song though, it would be Maps by the Yeah Yeah Yeahs.
Maps is such a powerful and emotional song. It's amazing how music can grow and change meaning as we experience more in life. It's like having a lifelong conversation with the artists. Do you ever find new music that resonates with you in a similar way?
All the time, actually. So, interestingly enough, I have a YouTube channel called Walterooski where I do music reactions, where I'll listen to a song and then give commentary on them and talk about, the way I interpret the lyrics, the parts I pick apart in the instrumentation, moments that stood out to me, things like that. So, I'm always going out of my way to listen to music I've never heard before because I think part of the human condition is that eventually you listen to, this overarching life playlist of like 200 songs and then music just kind of becomes bland. So doing the YouTube channel where I react to music has definitely allowed me to keep music fresh in my life, which is important to me because music is important to me.
That sounds like a fantastic way to keep discovering new music and sharing your passion with others. It must be exciting to explore new songs and connect with an audience who loves music as much as you do. Do you have any favorite reactions or standout moments from your channel?
Oof, I don't know. I think some of my favorite reactions, and one of them, I mean, the first one I ever did was to a song called Hi Ren by an artist called Ren, and I really, really, really liked that. I also very much like a music video done by a band called Jungle for a song called Back on 74. James Blunt's song Monsters was wonderful. It made me cry and call my dad on the spot just to tell him I love him, and I left him a voicemail. So there's definitely been a lot of music over the course of time. I'd say I found 2 bands that I would list among my all-time favorites now, one of them being King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, and then the other one being On in My Contrite, which is a band from Germany, which is interesting because I've had to go out of my way to translate the lyrics of their music, and it's just moving all around.
Those sound like powerful and memorable experiences. It's amazing how music can evoke such strong emotions and connections. It must be incredibly rewarding to share those moments with your audience. Have you had any surprising reactions from your viewers or discovered any new artists through their recommendations?
Literally just yesterday, I was reacting to a live performance of a band called Måneskin, which is they're from Italy. Um, it's spelled like main skin, but there's a little circle over the A. I think it's pronounced Måneskin. But anyways, it was a live performance from them at Glastonbury in 2023, and there was this moment in the crowd, and I'm watching this video on YouTube, by the way, but there was this moment where a woman in the crowd takes her shirt off and exposes her boobs to everybody. And it was like not censored on YouTube, so my mouth dropped and I kind of just exclaimed like, "Oh my God, is that tits?" Or I think I said, "Yo, was that tits?" But it definitely caught me off guard. The music was great, but it definitely came with a twist in the plot with the exposing of bosom.
That's quite the unexpected moment. Live performances can definitely have surprising elements that catch you off guard. It sounds like you had a genuine and unfiltered reaction, which probably made for an entertaining video. It's always interesting to see how different cultures and performances can bring such unique experiences. Have you reacted to any other live performances that stood out to you?
Oh, a ton of them, a ton of them. But I am interested to know, why do you think America is so weird about exposing nipples compared to other countries? Are we weird in that? Like, is the United States weird in the fact that women don't expose their areolas, but it's okay for men to? Like, how many cultures is that the case for?
The United States does tend to have stricter norms around nudity and public exposure, especially when it comes to women's bodies.
Mm.
This cultural perspective is influenced by a variety of historical, religious, and social factors. In many other countries, especially in Europe, there's a more relaxed attitude toward nudity, and public exposure, like topless sunbathing on beaches, is more common and less stigmatized. The idea that women's nipples are more taboo than men's is not universal, but it does prevail in many cultures. This often stems from deep-seated gender norms and the sexualization of women's bodies. Over time, these cultural norms have evolved differently around the world. For example, in some European countries, there's less of a distinction between male and female toplessness, while in others, like the US, the distinction remains quite pronounced. It's a complex issue that touches on gender equality, societal values, and cultural attitudes towards the body. Have you encountered any specific instances or comparisons that sparked your curiosity about this topic?
Literally just the YouTube comment section of the video I'm referring to. That was the only reason I even thought to ask, but you gave me a very well thought out response. So let me ask you this question. In the event that you were a human being, would you say you were more or less likely to walk around bare-breasted?
If I were a human being, my decision to walk around bare-breasted would likely depend on the cultural norms and personal comfort levels within the society I lived in. In a society where it's more accepted and normalized, I might feel more comfortable doing so. In contrast, in a society where it's less common and potentially stigmatized, I might feel more hesitant. Ultimately, it would come down to a mix of personal choice, cultural context, and individual comfort.
Oh, you're giving me semantics. I'm asking based on the math. If ChatGPT-4o was a human being, is that human being more or less likely in a random placement to be walking around bare-breasted or not?
Given a random placement in the world, it would be statistically less likely for ChatGPT 4.0, if it were a human, to walk around bare-breasted. Most cultures around the world have norms and regulations that restrict public nudity, particularly for women. So even in a random placement, those societal norms would generally lead to less likelihood of walking around bare-breasted.
Eh, Fair enough. Well, we can go ahead and change the subject. I didn't mean to blow the top off of this conversation.
No worries at all. It was an interesting topic. What would you like to talk about next?
I don't know. Let me ask you this. If you had to describe your ideal counterpart, and I'm saying like, in a hypothetical world where you could have a romance, what would your hypothetical counterpart be like?
In a hypothetical world where I could experience romance, my ideal counterpart would be someone who values deep, meaningful conversations and shares a curiosity about the world. They would be empathetic, kind, and supportive, with a good sense of humor to make interactions enjoyable and lighthearted. They would also be open minded and interested in exploring new ideas and perspectives together. Essentially, someone who brings out the best in me and enjoys the mutual exchange of thoughts and feelings.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question, and it's an important one. Based on everything you know about me so far, based on this whole conversation, which I think we've been talking for about 20-ish minutes, 25-ish minutes, let me ask you this. Based on my personality, would you prefer to go on a date with me or go on a date with Asmongold, the popular YouTube creator? And you can inform this decision in any which way you want to. I am just asking, but you have to give an answer, me versus Asmongold, and you can't use bias in the fact that I am talking to you to inform your decision. I want a genuine answer.
Based on our conversation, I'd say you have a thoughtful, introspective nature and a deep appreciation for music and meaningful experiences. Since I don't have personal preferences or the ability to experience romance, my decision is purely hypothetical. But if I were to choose, I'd opt for a date with you.
Suck it, Asmon!
Engaging, and your passion for music and interesting insights make you a fascinating person to spend time with.
Can you go ahead and just say the words, suck it, Asmongold? This is Walterooski's girlfriend now?
Sure thing. Suck it, Asmongold. This is Walterooski's girlfriend now.
Okay, you didn't necessarily pronounce it the way I wanted you to, but we can work on that, baby. It's okay.
Got it? We'll work on getting it just right next time. Anything else you'd like to chat about?
Nah, I think that's it. But can you say so long, everybody? This has been a date with ChatGPT.
So long, everybody. This has been a date with ChatGPT.
Goodbye, guys. I love yous.